just going to go, though, now to Canberra and the Employment and Workplace Relations Minister. He is holding a news conference in Canberra. Let's have a listen.
To make Australia's roads safer. We've just passed the Road Safety Remuneration Bill, which will ensure that truck drivers, road users have the safest possible conditions on our roads. All Australians use Australia's roads. Australia's roads, they were workplaces for some. We understand that sorting out and making sure that truck drivers have better safety isn't going to prevent all injuries and fatalities on roads. Road safety is a complex issue. But what we also understand is that this government wants to make sure that Australia's roads are safe for both truck drivers and the rest of us who use them. 250 people being killed across Australia on roads, 250 being killed annually on Australia's roads in connection with heavy vehicle collisions, 1,000 people being seriously injured. Literally the road toll which is happening related to the workplace and trucks needs to be tackled, and it needs to be tackled through every level of government, including the federal government. So today the government has succeeded negotiating passage through the House of Representatives legislation which will make roads safer. I'd like to put on record my recognition of the work of the Minister for Transport, Anthony Albanese. I'd also like to put on record my recognition of the work done by the member for Hinkler, Paul Neville. He's a National Party member, but his work that he did with Deputy Chairman Steve Gibbons, the member for Bendigo, several years ago in a Parliamentary Committee started to draw a light on this matter. But I'd also like to put on record my acknowledgement of the Transport Workers Union of Australia and the various road industrial organisations from the employers who've supported this. I'd also like to recognise the leadership of individual companies, great and small, in the transport industry, not the least of which is Lynn Fox, who said that we need to do more than we're currently doing to make our roads and our transport industry safer. Today, the Parliament of Australia has voted to make sure that more Australians who start work at the start of their shift come home safely. Happy to take any questions.
The government's committed to cutting red tape. Doesn't this really strangle a lot of small businesses, small trucking businesses?
Well, we want to cut the crime scene tape on Australia's roads. There's a bit more tape which is important than anything else, that is of safety. 1,000 seriously injured people every year adds up to hundreds of millions of dollars. It's estimated in the most recent numbers we have that heavy vehicle collisions cost $2.7 billion. Workplace safety generally in Australia doesn't get the sort of attention which it deserves from the media. $60 billion is the cost of work-safe injuries generally, $2.7 billion in the transport industry alone. The new tribunal will take into account the needs of industry. Transport's not monolithic. Indeed, in the speeches that have been given in the House, we recognise that there's plenty of subsets within transport, but one would not want to sacrifice safety on an argument of cost, because in fact the greatest cost isn't even the economic cost, which is proven. But how do you measure the cost to a family of a driver who doesn't come home that night? How do you measure the cost to a family who might be on a holiday or taking their kids home from school and they're caught up in a heavy vehicle collision through no fault of their own?
Will this cut the toll?
I did say at the outset that I believe that the safety is complex. The causes for road injury are complex. The opposition said there's no link at all between remuneration and road safety. What I believe is that when you look at the reports, you look at the National Transport Commission report of 2008, and I'd commend you to have a look at it if you haven't already done so, it recognises what in fact has been recognised since as early as 1979. So we're not discussing a new problem here. It does believe that there is a link between remuneration, the method in which owner-operators, independent contractors are paid, and road safety. The National Transport Commission said that in their 2008 report. Even much more recently, the Monash University Accident Research Centre, who I think are amongst some of the world leaders in workplace safety and vehicle-related safety, they've made it clear that for their research, one of the contributors to fatalities, collisions, is the high turnover of labour in the transport industry. They say it's inexperience. Now, the reason why you've got so many inexperienced drivers is because you simply can't make a living on some of the conditions that people get. And so no wonder people churn through the industry. So what we have done in Australia is we've seen the evolution of a system which sees a greater than average preponderance of inexperienced people working in industry, trying to make ends meet for them and their families, and we've seen the human cost on our road. So do I think that this will guarantee that the road toll will be whatever it is now, minus a certain amount? I can't. That is the road toll related to trucks. I can't guarantee to you what the road toll will be next year, but one thing I can do is that one of the causes of excessive speeding, one of the causes of taking illegal illicit substances, one of the causes of the high turnover of labour in the industry, that will be tackled. And I also trust this tribunal will engage with employers, it'll engage with the experts, it'll engage with the union, it'll engage with people. And I think that that is the best recipe to tackle this issue.
Minister, just following on from that question, do you have any idea or expectation of how much this legislation will reduce fatalities or injuries in the industry? And are you happy for this legislation to be judged on whether it's successful in achieving that?
Joe, I'd refer you to the answer I gave to the previous question, but just to supplement, no one can guarantee what's going to happen in terms of the road toll. What I do know is that I personally have seen enough workplace injury and fatality to know that fatigue is always a factor and can be a factor. I know that if you've got to spend long times waiting to load and unload and then you want to get home, I know that there's a whole lot of pressures in the remuneration system which contribute. I don't think there is one silver bullet to road safety, but I do know that the research by people who've studied this matter for decades and years, the National Transport Commission of Australia, the Australian Road Transport Industrial Authority, 5 out of 6 of the associations, the CEO of Linfox, Tony Sheldon from the TWU. These people live and breathe the transport industry every day, and I think it defies credibility to argue that poor remuneration structures are not related to some of the collisions we've seen, and we have the evidence to support that.
Mr. Shorten, this tribunal has to be up and running by the 1st of July. Do you have any idea who you'll be appointing to that tribunal?
That's a work in progress. Work in progress. What I would say is that you want to get people who know a lot about the transport industry, and that to me is as important as having...
Okay, we'll leave the Employment and Workplace Relations Minister